Welcome to the Astrological Weather Report. My name is Daniel Fiverson. I publish frequent forecasts on my website, evolutionaryastrologer.net, and record many of them here for the EA Zoom community and my own YouTube at dfiverson. Some of us still like to read the written word, so I also publish transcripts on my website. You can receive these astrological weather reports directly in your inbox by using the subscribe form on my website. In this edition, I want to examine the current conjunction of Mercury and the asteroid and Pallas Athena. They have a very special astrological connection, which is the subject of this talk. I very much appreciate your feedback, so please share this video with anyone interested. A portal opens. Mercury Conjunct Pallas Athena. Mercury, the planet closest to the sun, rules two signs. Mercury's outward-directed yang expression is Gemini, the world of words and ideas. In its yin expression, energy moving inward towards the center, Mercury rules Virgo, the sacred space of ritual and ceremony and work on the self. And it is this second expression, Virgo, that we will be looking at today. On August 8th, 2023, Mercury will conjoin asteroid Pallas Athena at 14 degrees of Virgo. Let me show you that. This chart is simply the aspects to that conjunction. Athena was second only to Zeus in the Greek pantheon above Apollo. Athena was born parthenogenically from her father's crown chakra. A soothsayer had prophesied that the second child he bore would be more powerful than him. So he swallowed Athena's mother, Metis, whose name means wisdom. One day he was in a field with his son, Hephaestus, the Greek god of armor and metalwork, and was seized by a violent headache. He asked Hephaestus to use his battle axe to cleave his skull to relieve the pain, and Athena leapt out, fully clad in golden armor, shouting a battle cry, leaping out from his crown chakra. She was a virgin goddess. She resisted all amorous advances, had neither consort nor offspring, and was given the attribution Parthenos, meaning a chaste maiden. This name became the name of the Parthenon in Athens. There was a contest to determine who the patron of Athens would be between Athena and Poseidon. Poseidon struck the ground and created a spring of fresh water for the city. Athena instead planted an olive tree to represent peace and won the contest. Athena was the patron goddess of household crafts, sewing and weaving, and pottery, which allowed cooking. She gave men the bridle so that they could harness their horses for work. Athena was a peace activist and would always try to negotiate peace, but she never shunned from taking up arms and going to battle. In Homer's Iliad, she fought alongside the Greek war god Ares and the heroes of the Greek classical age. She represents the intellectual and civilized side of war and the virtues of justice and skill, whereas Ares represented mere bloodlust. She wore the aegis, her father's breastplate, when she went to war, which represented fear, strife, defense, and assault. She was associated with birds, particularly the owl, which became famous as the city symbol, and with the snake. Excuse me. So as I alluded to, planet Mercury and asteroid Pallas Athena have an important relationship with each other. Astrologically, there is a principle known as planetary octaves. Uranus, as the illogical, irrational higher mind, correlates to the higher octave of Mercury, Mercury being the lower rational mind. Pallas Athena holds a special place in this archetypal structure as what is known as the octave transformer between lower mind Mercury and higher mind Uranus. As the goddess of wisdom and strategy, Pallas Athena can transform the sometimes seemingly impossible mental downloads from Uranus into rational, workable strategies. As these two mental forces conjoin, a potential for mental inspiration is magnified. Due to Mercury's retrograde cycle, the conjunction will occur 3 times. August 8th, which is actually today, the day of this broadcast, at 22 degrees Virgo. Then again, and as she's retrograded, August 26th, 2023 at 13 degrees of Libra, and then direct again on October 12th at 5 degree Pisces. This current Mercury Pallas cycle will persist until January 21st of 2025, 18 months from now. Virgo sets the tone for this entire series of conjunctions because it is the first conjunction. Virgo pertains to work on the self. It is growth through crisis. We can study foreign languages and learn mathematics or rocket science, but what we truly master are the lessons that we learn by direct emotional experience. If we are smokers, we do not stop because everyone tells us to. We only stop when we have a serious health crisis, and sometimes it takes more than one. A rich repository of opportunities for work on the self will persist through this 18-month cycle with intuitive support. The 3 conjunctions will utilize personal introspection to establish both mental clarity and self-compassion, which is free of emotional imbalances. Mercury's retrograde cycle will drive us deeper into our psyches to expose what we need to work on and how to do it. Intuitive messages from Pallas are sometimes startling in their synchronicity. We are more likely to react rather than respond, or perhaps just ignore them. Our first reaction might be dismissal. Our rational mind says that's impossible. Awareness of mental impulses increases, and we become more receptive to mental downloads as they continue. It is never necessary to jump on any bandwagons with banners unfurled, but we must become the observer and watch to see who and what shows up in your outer world. The first Hermetic principle is that the universe is mental. Ideas are seed thoughts that over time sprout roots and leaves. Our eyes are not receivers, they are projectors. Our thoughts script the events of our lives. Our reality is projected onto our outer world. The world around us does not control us. Like the stars that circle overhead, our outer world is merely our reflection. So at the first conjunction, Mercury and Pallas separate from a first phase, full phase opposition to Saturn. Let me show you that. See the opposition here. They apply to a waxing first quarter trine to Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And they apply to a first quarter square to asteroid Vesta in Gemini, also in Mercury sign. And though the moon, and here, I'm sorry, it's a little covered up. Though the moon does not form any direct aspect to Mercury or Pallas, it is only 2 degrees away from Uranus. A push me, pull me condition exists. We can feel stuck between divergent ideas and pathways forward. The struggle is between what our heart tells us to do and what we think necessity demands. A mental startle reflex activates. The cognitive terrain is rocky and uneven, and we might even feel lost at sea with Saturn in Pisces. The higher mind struggles to do the right thing, stick to what is essential. But the right thing is elusive, and what is essential may not be essential at all. This crisis catalyzes our instinctual nature, requiring that we examine where we are and, more importantly, where we are going. Pluto retrograde, Pluto retrograde, whoops, sorry about this, technical difficulty. Pluto retrograde is squaring the lunar nodes requiring the resolution of unresolved karmic issues. An internal discussion ignites the spark that initiates personal growth. Venus retrograde remember, Venus is in her retrograde cycle right now. And you can read an entire forecast about that by itself on my website. But Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo suggests that these unresolved issues concern our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with others. During Mercury's retrograde cycle, a second conjunction occurs on August 26th at 22 degrees of Virgo. A mutable grand cross is briefly drawn across the sky as Mercury Pallas in Virgo applies to a waxing gibbous opposition to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and a Sagittarius moon separates from a waning full phase opposition to asteroid Vesta in Gemini. Mercurial energies continue to saturate the atmosphere. Conversations, gossip, innuendo, and lies swirl through the zeitgeist like ribbons on a maypole. The moon emotionally accelerates the mental maelstrom inside our heads. We can silence our ideas, but it is much harder to sublimate our emotions. A facilitating grand trine in Earth signs helps Mercury become more receptive to Pallas, as the conjunction by aspect separates from Pluto and applies to Uranus. Discussions are grounded in issues regarding self-empowerment and implementing structured innovation. The lunar north node triangulates compatible frequencies from Saturn as well, Saturn in Pisces and Vesta in Gemini, to Mercury and Pallas. Any intention for the future needs to include taking ownership of authenticity and a sacred commitment to self. And the luminaries Sun and Moon and the lunar south node complete a third facilitating grand trine. How we see ourselves and how we are self-actualizing are driven by soul intention for the future. Thor's hammer strikes Venus retrograde in Leo from a Sagittarius moon and Neptune retrograde in his native water world of Pisces. Our emotional experiences with the emerging world around us are reshaping our values and priorities. We are going to learn to sink or swim, one way or another. And Thor's hammer strikes Mars in Gemini from Jupiter in Taurus and asteroid Hygeia retrograde in Aquarius. Pointed discussions about our choices continue to populate the airwaves, discussions with others, and inside our head. And there's also the possibility of the resurfacing of COVID or something else like it. As Mercury returns to her forward progression across the ecliptic, the third conjunction occurs on October 12, 2023 at 14 degrees of Libra. Goddess Athena and her hermetic partner are supercharged, especially after the recent meetup with the Libran sun. What do you see? What do I see in you that I see in myself? What can you tell me? What do I need to know? How can we stop the madness? Here is my contact information, My website is evolutionaryastrologer.net. There's a form on that page, as I said, to subscribe to my astrological weather reports. You can email me to book a reading at daniel@evolutionaryastrology.net. I will soon be giving live talks on a new astrology app called AstroStar. You can download a version from the App Store for your mobile devices and on your computer. Thank you for tuning in. Please let me know if you like this presentation. Namaste.